Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 City Council meeting for the City of Lamar. I'm Mayor Kirk Crespin. It's been a busy few weeks. We've had a lot of different events in the community. I really wanted to give a huge thank you and, kind of give some accolades and congratulations to the groups that have worked so hard on the Lamar Days Broad Run, the Lamar Days events and activities. It was a great weekend and a great set of events. So great job once again this year, and thank you to the cooks and the group that worked with the Lamar Day Broad Run and all of them as well as the No Booze Cruise on Friday night. That was a great event. So thank you very much, and thank you for everybody that participated in that. We do have somewhat of a short meeting tonight, so we're going to get right into it. We'll start off with the pledge of it. Well, I'll start off with the invocation. Looks like we have Galen here for the invocation. Galen.
Father, we want to thank you and praise you for your work in our lives and in our city. Father, we thank you that we had a good Lamar Day celebration. We thank you for your protection. We thank you for our city council and the administration and the department leads and all the workers. Father, we thank you. You have taken care of us. Father, we want to thank you also for the moisture that we've got in the last couple of weeks. We thank you also for the sun shining. We appreciate all the stuff you do, Father, and we just want to ask your special direction and anointing upon our city council as they discuss the items of business tonight. Lead them to make the best decisions. Lead them to make the decisions that will improve and build up our city. And for that, we thank you, Father. We thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Councilman Gonzalez, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:03 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Shayla Mata.
Here.
Jerry Jenkins.
Here.
Kirk Crespin.
Here.
David Zavala.
Here.
Manuel Temez. Brent Bates.
Here.
Kristen Swartz.
Here.
Lance Clark.
Here.
Okay, we've all had an opportunity to review the agenda. I did not see any changes. Did anyone else?
I didn't see any either.
Okay. On the consent agenda, I didn't see any changes on there. There was a question that arose concerning the new license or the renewal for a license on the liquor license portion. I was just going to let our city clerk mention what that correction was or the update was.
Okay, so on Palace Taverns, we had a citizen that brought it to our attention that Palace Taverns had marked number 3, are you renewing a takeout and/or delivery permit? They marked yes. However, they did not include the fee that was associated with that, which was $11. We did contact Palace Tavern and they did bring us in the $11 that needs to be submitted to the state. It was changed on the front of the application from $850 to $861. And then they had also marked that they would like to apply for a 2-year renewal, which the state does allow for 2-year renewals. However, we are going to continue yearly renewals. And so they did change their check mark and they did initial that before it gets sent to the state.
Now, I don't see a reason why we would need to separate it out and vote on it separate, but I will open it up to the council. We can either approve the consent agenda as submitted, or if you'd like to have those separated, we can vote on them separate as well. But with the changes being corrected, I don't think there's a reason why we would need to. So council, what would you like to do?
If we don't need to vote on it separately, then I would say we accept it as proposed.
Okay. So is that a motion?
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Okay. Do we have,
The changes.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second. With all those in favor, signify with an aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Sorry.
Oh, one more time.
Sorry.
Go ahead and vote.
Unanimous in favor of.
Thank you. All right, public comment portion. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak to a council on an item? Seeing none, we'll move on to the city treasurer's report. Kristen?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On my grants update, we have some exciting news, and we've all been bursting at the seams. Anne Marie and Bess and I worked really hard with heirs on this application, and we were awarded the EPA Brownfields Cleanup Grant for the main cafe in the amount of $660,759. So we're pretty excited to move that forward, and that's for the abatement of the main cafe and the properties thereof. So we are going to get to work on our work plan and start through that, navigating that process with the EPA. So we're pretty excited about it. We're excited to get that project moving. So Anne Marie's done a really good job since she's become Community Development Director of getting that off the ground and keeping that project moving. So we're excited to see it moving forward. So it's exciting news for the city. And that was all I had for this evening, unless you guys have questions for me.
And then I also noticed that we had received an email from Lauren Wilbur's office.
Yes, and that was just saying that they're moving our project forward, and that's the $5 million that we applied for our wastewater treatment plant project for the construction phase of that project. So we're anxiously waiting to see if they fund the full thing, but it sounds like we will get some funding. I just don't have an amount yet on that one, so I included that email as well for everybody's reference.
So my understanding is she selects the ones that she wants to push for, and then from that, they approve it through the government. So
Yeah, then sometimes they, like last time, they didn't approve our full request, but we did get 1.8, which has allowed us to, along with the DOLA grant, of not having any city cash in the design and engineering phase of the project. So we're moving along slowly but surely on that. So
great.
We're excited about that. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any questions for the city treasurer?
I don't have any.
I also had one more other small update we got today. I forgot to mention, Pat got a letter that our gravel pit had now been cleared and we are released from that gravel pit. And that's the one that we're going to do the archery range on. So we reached out to CPW today. They're going to do most of the work on, and so they're going to get with Anthony and start the work putting up the targets and stuff for the archery range. So that is moving forward as well. So that was pretty exciting news too. We've been working on that one for quite some time. So
yeah. Okay. We will move on with no other questions. We'll move on to the city clerk's report.
And I have no report this evening unless you have questions for me.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the city administrator report. Events that are coming up are the Commons Grounds event, which is Wednesday, June the 4th, at 7 a.m. in the Cultural Events Center. This is going to be featuring the Lamar Fire Department this month. So, of course, the Common Ground event is where you can come in and speak with the council on any topic that you would like to discuss with the council, but also we'll be featuring one of the departments each month. This is the Lamar Fire Department. You'll get to learn what's happening in the fire department, share any questions, concerns that you may have about the fire department as well. So once again, that is this coming up Wednesday, June 4th, not this week, but next week, 7 a.m. in the Cultural Event Center downstairs. We have McClave State Bank. They're doing their grand opening on Friday, June the 6th at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch will be provided. There is the Community Social, which has been our annual event for the last 5 years. Community Social, I guess this would be the 6th year, if I remember right. One or the other, 5 or 6. This will be Friday, June the 6th from 1 to 5 p.m. They're going to have the swimming. From 7 to 9 p.m., we'll be having the movie. But from 5 to 7, we'll be doing the meet, eat, and greet with the council, as well as with our partners, which is Lamar Community College, High Plains Community Health Center, and Prowers Medical Center. Did I miss anybody on our partners? Okay. So the movie is at 9 p.m. in Willow Creek Park. Of course, you could bring your family out and have a great evening in the park. So starting at 1 p.m. with the free swim If you are wanting to participate, it'll be a great time for everyone. June the 6th at Willow Creek Park at the pavilion next to the swimming pool. A couple of department updates. Of course, Kristen had just mentioned about one of our bigger projects, which is the update with our archery range that's coming up. With the approval of that, the pit being utilized for this project, I think we'll be able to move forward very quickly on this. I think everybody's excited to have this 3D archery range, and it'll be a great addition for our North Gateway Park. The dog park was opened, and I've seen quite a few people out there off and on throughout the past few weeks. So that's great to see the dog park open. Anthony has been very busy in the Parks and Rec department. They did finish up all the repairs in the swimming pool. We are still targeted for an opening on the 31st of May. They are in the process of fixing the last component, which is the heating element for the water, but we should be good to go for that. They will also be starting to deliver dirt, the special dirt for the Escondido Park. So the Escondido soccer field, which will be the running loops field, that will begin this week. Thursday through Saturday, they'll be delivering the dirt, and then or Sunday. And then next week, the next week or so, we used to see more activity as far as the new sod and improvements from there. Other departments, I know the community development has been very, very busy. We're going to be discussing the comprehensive plan tonight. That's been a big project that they've been working on, as well as somewhat assisting with the Parks and Rec master plan. They've been working on other projects such as the main cafe project, and finished up their move into the community resource building. So lots of things happening in there. Did I miss anything that you can think of, Kristen, on major projects
I don't think so.
for the departments? Okay. Without manual here, I'm kind of
Yeah.
only
No,
halfway
I
there.
don't think so. So
Okay.
waiting on the sidewalk project, we're waiting for the notice to proceed.
Yeah, the sidewalk project for CDOT, where we're waiting for the engineering and
The notice to proceed from
Notice
CDOT
to
before we
proceed.
can start, yeah.
Okay.
And I reached out to them last week, and he said probably either this week or next week, we should hit the go-ahead, so.
great. Okay. Any questions for the city administrator report?
I don't have any.
Seeing none, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. We have Porch to Plains update with Mike Duffy. Oh, sorry, reports and correspondence from the council before we do. I'll start over here with Joe.
Okay. Planning and zoning did have a meeting, and a couple of topics that we met on, we'll be visiting with them on tonight. And one will be with the planning and zoning. What we did was review the comprehensive plan. And we also had a visit with the, just had a brain freeze there for a moment, with the vacating property. So we'll be visiting with that as well. That's also on the agenda. And the golf board did meet. The club manager, Terry, reported that their Memorial Day tournament was canceled. They did not get enough interest in that. And in the month of June, they will be having 3 benefit golf tournaments. The first one will be June the 7th, will be Glow in the Golf. If you're interested in doing Glow in the Golf, I would recommend contacting the Chamber of Commerce. And they'll be doing another one on June the 14th, which will be DECA. And June the 28th, they will be doing another one called the Wiley Panther Open. So if anybody's out there wanting to get a team together, I would suggest contact the pro shop, and they can steer you in the right direction to get your team registered. The superintendent reported that the greens are coming out of top dressing and they look good. He also reported that he had did all this fertilizer and pesticides and killing the weeds out there. And if you haven't been out there, I would suggest take a look, because it does look beautiful. It's starting to look pretty and green. They went out for bids for their bush hog that I mentioned in their last meeting. I think they got one bid turned in from Redland Equipment for about $25,000. And they've got 3 sheds open that they're looking, I believe, to get filled. And 3 sheds that they need to get individuals possibly out there and get those filled as well. Their new board member started as well, his first board meeting there. Mr. Jennings brought forth a proposal for some radio advertisement there for the golf club to try and promote that, which I believe is going to be a great deal for the club. And last but not least, there was a letter of resignation by Ron Woolard from the board. And I think the current board members are on the right track. They sent out an email asking for letters or to fill out applications to become a board member. And they would, in order to do that, you have to be a good standing member of the golf club and fill out your application, and then the board members will review those and choose from that point on. And right now, other than that, other than the tournaments that are coming up, which are quite a few, that's all I have.
Okay. Shayla?
The airport board was unable to meet this past week, but there is still a vacancy on that board if you're interested.
Okay. Jerry?
Public Safety Board is going to have a special meeting on Thursday at 4:30 because we're still discussing about the speed limit on Main Street and stuff and the speeding traffic. So that will be at 4:30 on Thursday.
Okay. David?
No, I don't have anything at the moment. Joe just explained on the planning and zoning and a comprehensive plan.
I have nothing right now.
Okay. And I don't have anything right now either, so we will move on to the new business. Now, this is where we can talk about the Porch to Plains update. We have Mike Duffy and as a guest with Beverly Haggard.
Thank you very much, Council. Just wanted to kind of get in front of you and kind of explain a little bit. Back at the end of March, I did, this year was my second year attending what we call the Washington, D.C. fly-in, where we actually meet with representatives and senators regarding what we want and kind of putting ourselves out in front of those representatives and senators. I've got Bev Haggard here this evening that she's going to kind of give a brief report. I was unable to go down to Lubbock. They had a signing ceremony for down in the south of Lubbock area for the I-27 extending that, which last year the designation became that. I'll let Bev kind of speak on that. In your packets, there was a couple of things that I kind of included. They were kind of lengthy, so I wanted to kind of put them in your packets ahead of time. One of them was just kind of a handout that we used in Washington, D.C. regarding the 2025 federal policy guidelines. Kind of gives a general overview of what Porch to Plains is, if you're not entirely familiar with it. Basically, in a nutshell, for those that are viewing online, it goes from Mexico to Canada, ideally up through the eastern part of Colorado, although there is a spur that goes over to Raton and up I-25. Anybody that's been on I-25 knows that congestion is pretty bad now. It's going to be worse come 2050. It just continues to grow on congestion-wise. Likewise here, and there's a handout that has Bev is speaking, I'll hand to each of you, that talks about why the Lamar reliever route is a priority and why it's still needed. This was also good information that I pulled in, and has specifically the last page talks about the average annual daily traffic, which when you get your copy, take a look at that. From 2010 to 2023, it nearly doubled. 2010 truck traffic alone was 1,310 trucks from the portion of 287 Olive Street south towards Oklahoma, versus in 2023, that 1,310 jumped to 2,580, so double. And that's at 2023. I'm anxious to kind of see what those figures are going to look like in the next couple of years with that kind of growth from 2010 to 2023. So I will hand those out to you. But as far as Washington, D.C., we did have a chance to meet with Jason Crow, which is pretty much up on the Front Range, as well as our local senators, Bennett and Hickenlooper, as well as our representative, Lauren Bobart. I was very impressed with Lauren Bobart. of all of the meetings that we've had with senators and representatives, it's usually just legislative aides. She this year was right there sitting in on that meeting with us, being her first year in District 4. So I'm very impressed with that. And she's been here in Lamar a couple of times. I think she's planning at some point in the future of coming back to Lamar. She is very pro Ports to Plains. Although, like Kristen mentioned in her treasurer's report, that top 15, we put in a designation for congressional spending for environmental assessment update. Obviously, from what Kristen said, we didn't make that top 15. The wastewater treatment plant made it. But one item that did make it on there was the passing lanes from Lyman north to the Nebraska border, Highway 71. So that's just a small segment of what we're doing here in Colorado. A lot of time have been spent with TPR meetings, which are held quarterly here in Lamar. We've been talking about the top 20, and the Lamar reliever route is right there at number 20. We wish it was a little higher, but with all the goals and everything. Again, the big highlight for having this reliever route is safety. As Councilwoman Jenkins mentioned, speeding is a big problem on Main Street. Safety is a big problem with wide loads. A lot of different issues there. With that being, I'd like to introduce Bev to kind of talk about what she talked about down in Texas with the signing ceremony.
Well, Joe Kiley called me and asked me, since I'd been on the board for 15 years and that this was part of it, to go down to the signing of the addition of 4.2 miles of interstate in Lubbock. I know that doesn't sound like much, but he unfortunately fell the weekend before, so he couldn't go, so I couldn't ride with him. But I didn't want to miss it, so I had already reserved room, so I went on down and was glad I did, because Senator Ted Cruz was there, Congressman Jody Arlington from West Texas was there, and Senator Ted Cruz is, just a second here, he chairs the U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, and U.S. Representative Jody Arrington is the U.S. House Budget Committee chairman. And I'll just give you some statistics. There has not been any additional miles of interstate built since 1992. So that's why this is such a big deal. It's only just 4.2 miles, but anything along the Texas corridor, which is 287, 80, and 87, has to be built up to interstate standards now that it has been designated as future interstate. Also, it's also Ted Cruz said, why are so many people moving to Texas? Because of the jobs. And it's because there's 124 miles of interstate between Amarillo and Lubbock. And that gets a lot more attention than 2-lane roads. And like Mike said, it's doubled in the last 12 years. And if anybody, no matter what time of day or night you drive on 287, I guarantee you, I left this morning at 1:15. I leave in the morning at 1:15 and go 287. And there's at least one, if not two trucks every mile, even at that time. When you go to Gobbler's Knob, there is at least 10 to 15 to 25 trucks parked at Gobbler's Knob every single night, even during the holidays. And Ports to Plains consist of the 8 states, but it also consists of 3 major highways, which is Heartland Express, and they were designated as the 14th high priority corridor in the United States. There's 102. Ports to Plains was designated number 38 in 1998. And Theodore Roosevelt is also part of Ports to Plains, and it is number 58, and it was added in 2005. There's 102 high priority corridors, and Ports to Plains is 38 out of that. So that's a pretty good thing. And like I said, it's a big deal because there's been no interstate miles added, only maintenance. And if anybody's driven on I-25 or I-70 in the state of Colorado, they know what maintenance needs to be done on I-70 especially. If you don't know where the bumps are, potholes are, you're going to tear your car up going to Denver. I guarantee. I drive it at least once, if not twice a month. So that's why we need to try to get this designated as future interstate through Colorado, because if not, that spur over to Raton is not going to be a spur. It's going to be the I-27 instead of coming right through Lamar, Colorado. So, any questions?
Did they say anything? I know one of our biggest challenges has been CDOT. Have
CDOT.
they been working on that?
They
at all,
have, and Ted Cruz even mentioned in his remarks during the signage and the ribbon cutting ceremony, he said, we've got it all the way through Texas now and into New Mexico. Now we've got to get it into Oklahoma, on up to Colorado. We've got to get it through Colorado. They've got to come on board. I think CDOT it's just our CDOT, head of CDOT doesn't want anything over 5 years. If you're not on the program for 20 years, you're getting eaten up. Because, it's taken 32 years to get 4.2 miles added to a highway.
Yeah.
So, and that's been on the radar for, 32 years. So if you don't plan out, and that's why this environmental study is so important on the alternate truck route, because if you don't have the environmental study and there's money out there, you're not going to get anything done, because you have to have the environmental study done first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bev, on that. I guess to wrap it up in a nutshell, I'm pretty passionate about this because it'd be a big boost to economic development up the Eastern Plains. The prevailing need out there, and I might be in trouble for saying this, everybody thinks front range, and we get nothing 9 times out of 10. So we really need to fight for this thing. Economic development wise, the major mantra for Ports to Plains right now is fuel, food, and fiber. Those are the 3 main things that get trucked, especially up 287 from Texas on up to, and like Bev said, Texas is on board, Nebraska, the Dakotas are pretty much on board. We just need to move and convince CDOT that this is a win-win. So thank you very much, Council.
Thank you. Anybody have questions for Mike before we move on?
I don't have any.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 2, display and services agreement with Tri-State Fireworks.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So this is our annual service agreement with Tri-State Fireworks. Come to you every year this time to get this taken care of. This year is going to be the same as last year, a $12,000 4th of July show and a $3,000 fair show. The fair board does cover the $3,000, so our portion is just the $12,000.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
Service agreement, same as it was last year?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed?
And you've looked it over?
Dates.
I'd look it over. I didn't have any issues with it.
Okay. And this will take place at the same spot over
Same
by
spot up at the fairgrounds.
the
Yep,
fairgrounds?
correct.
So people can,
Loiter around and watch from the college, from the ball fields. We have a pretty high show, so they can back up quite a ways and still see it.
thank you. All right. Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to have council authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. So I
Yes, sorry.
just verifying. Second is good.
The second, yes.
All right. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Next item on the agenda is comprehensive plan final review. This is a big project for the community development.
And for the city.
And for the city, yes.
It's pretty exciting. This started a little earlier than the original scope was supposed to start. We took advantage of Oktoberfest in 2023 to launch the comprehensive plan outreach. And we are finally at the stage where we can put it to bed, except that's where the work is going to start, because it's very aggressive what we've got in front of us. I did want to thank the Pathfinder Steering Committee members, and I do want to name them because they have made a significant investment in their time. Susan Kreitz, Michael Duffy, Josh Emick, Rinda Emick, Michelle Hegel, Connie Jacobson, Luis Martinez, Cheryl Sanchez, Judy Turpin, and Warren Camp as our Planning and Zoning Commission rep. The Navigator Youth Committee was made up of 2023, 2024, and 2025 student council, 2 years worth of student council members met with us to kind of vet some of our thoughts, look at maps, and really felt connected with the plan. When you think about it, 10 years from now, they're the ones that are going to own the city, so they should have a footprint on it. Excuse me. So on the 21st, last Wednesday, Lamar Planning and Zoning Commission approved and adopted the comprehensive plan and recommended its approval by council. The plan is now open for final review, and in addition to tonight's update, we're going to release a press release tomorrow. We're going to do social media posts and stories. The posting of the document links are on the community development webpage. We'll be emailing and posting flyers, emailing our city staff that have a substantial investment in the plan, and posting a link to those documents on tonight's council video. I printed several pages of the comprehensive plan that hopefully it'll give you kind of a 500-foot view of the plan, including introductions to housing, economic development, tourism, Parks and Rec, understanding that we will be doing a fully fleshed out master plan, transportation, infrastructure needs, and recommendations for future land use and potential areas for future annexation. Of the plan, of the pages I gave you, the full plan and other components are available online. But the forward-facing plan settles on 4 themes: growth done right, intersection of opportunity, gateway to adventure, and community continuum. The implementation action plan, which is at the back of the document, identifies potential action steps under each goal, their timeframes, leads, potential partners, status, and performance indicators. So what I gave you in your packet is the themes, goals, and strategies. In that online document is where it drills into the actual action steps itself. Josh Olhava of Ayers Associates has really loved his time in Lamar and has volunteered to facilitate a workshop in July where department heads and council would prioritize several goals and actions and set them into motion. So that's where we'd say, what do we want to go after for our first 5 or 6 action steps? And we are also preparing a resolution for council to adopt the comprehensive plan at the June 9th meeting. So that's the full picture. We are Excited about the opportunity. And we need to take this opportunity and work the plan.
I think there's, if we were to sum it up to the public in general, simple terms, this is a big part of what's going to move our community in the direction that the community has stated they wanted.
Right.
This isn't the council, this isn't the mayor, this isn't the city staff. This has been a project of getting information from the community and gathering it together. We asked tonight, or I'd asked and worked with Anne Marie to publish this as the final draft to the public so that you have the next couple of weeks between now and our next meeting to review it, to understand it, to share any concerns that you may have before the council finalizes it with a resolution. Once it's in place, that's when the work starts happening, like Anne Marie said. And that's when we begin using this document as a template and as a guide to where we're going in the future. So it's vital for everybody to take a look at it. If you're interested in where we're going to be going and what we're going to be shooting for, find out, learn about it. It's available. You're going to post the links. You're going to share the information and get it out to the public what the final document will be. And you'll have, after the resolution is done, you'll have 10 years to look at it.
Yes. And unlike our 2004 comprehensive plan, it was a 20-year document that spent 15 years on a shelf somewhere. This one is, we're going to be looking at it every 3 to 5 years to update it. So we may not, first of all, we may not have the major expense of updating it in 10 years from now, but it should be we say this a lot, but it should be a working document that is living and we can move with it.
Good. Okay. Any questions from the council on it?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Thanks for
you.
all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll have that resolution at the next council meeting. So anybody that would like to view it, please do and give us your input on the final draft. Next item on the agenda is approved resolution number 25-05-01, which is a resolution to the city of Lamar opposing annexations by the city of Colorado Springs that increases its future water supply gap. This is one that has been a resolution that has been passed around throughout Southeast Colorado. And they have gotten back to us where they were asking us to support this as well. You may have seen it in the news today or in some of the media over the last few weeks. But basically what's happening is as Colorado Springs is expanding, as with most areas or most communities, when you expand and you annex in certain areas into your city, you have to consider how much water and how much wastewater and how much infrastructure and investment you need to make for each one of these annexations. Just like the city of Lamar does when we do our annexations. We have to take those into consideration. The Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservancy District was basically created with the idea of trying to protect our water for Southeast Colorado, because as they annex and continue to annex, they have to make sure they have enough water for any expansion that Colorado Springs does. But with the massive amount of growth that's going on in the springs, they are growing faster than they are acquiring water to maintain what they need. What I was told by Jack Goebel on Friday when we met with him was that they're already running in a deficit of roughly 535,000 acre feet, I think is what it was saying, with the annexations that they have in play as of today. So this resolution isn't saying don't annex or, never annex in the future. It's just saying slow down. It wants us to let them know the detrimental effects on Southeast Colorado and all of rural Colorado, especially the eastern part of Colorado. If the water has to be taken from somewhere, chances are it's going to be taken from Southeast Colorado. So that's why it's such a huge issue. And that's why they were asking for us to join a variety of other communities and councils. The La Junta City Council adopted this same resolution. Los Animas City Council was supposed to be doing that at their next meeting. We had Otero County, Crowley County, Prowers County. They're all have completed this resolution, basically opposing their unmitigated annexations. You know, they really need to think about the consequences, the unintended consequences of their expansion and growth. So that's what this resolution is asking. Did you want to speak about the resolution at all, since you helped?
No, I know, I agree with what you've said. Essentially, there's a concern for water supply coming down the river with the amount of water shares that they're buying up in the area and losing that water supply coming down Arkansas. Cover everything.
I think a lot of communities that are growing have worked really hard as far as making sure that they're considering the net zero water usage for their community when they're doing this growth. And however, there are other communities that just grow and then answer the consequences later. And this is a situation where we're just wanting them to think about that before they grow without considering all of the options. So, council, do you have any questions on this?
I do not.
Okay, with no questions, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, then we'll get that passed along. Next item on the agenda, transfer of airport entitlement funds to the Lyman Municipal Airport. This is brought in by Pat Mason.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. So the FAA is requesting that we transfer $150,000 of our 2025 entitlement funding that we get to the Lyman Municipal Airport. We're part of a transfer group and have been for years, where we've benefited from the same practice on larger projects. It allows you to kind of expedite larger projects and get them done sooner without having to bank your $150,000 for 5 years to get there. So it's something we've done in the past frequently, and the favor will be returned in a year or two down the road. So basically, I would recommend council allow the mayor and city attorney to sign off on the transfer.
So as each airport in the region gets their funding from the FAA, these smaller amounts may not have any impact on them that year. So what they did is they created this consortium where they share the funds for 1 year, and then the next year somebody else shares the next year's funds, and they just rotate the complete balance for bigger projects. Is that a good way to describe it?
That's perfect. Yep, that's correct.
Okay. So it ends up going into a pool of money that can be shared back and forth between the different entities. So this is one of the years where we would be sharing our funds. In the future, when we have a project, we'll do the same, right?
That's correct.
All right, any questions from the council?
I don't have any. No.
With no questions, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the transfer of FAA entitlement funds to the Lyman Municipal Airport and allow the mayor and city attorney to sign the FAA transfer agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is liaison appointments to boards and commissions. This is somewhat of a loose discussion that we want to have, but we're bringing this to your attention for mainly one reason, but we do have two reasons. First off, the Adjustment and Appeals Board has been restructured to where they are needing a liaison to their board. They are in the middle of finalizing their bylaws, but since we're having this meeting tonight, they had asked that we would consider appointing Adjustment and Appeal Board member or liaison for the board from the council tonight as well. So that would be one net new member or liaison position that we would need to add. And then secondly, one of our council members had an opportunity with the new position that as an employment position on a board that he currently resides in. So would you like to talk on that, Brent?
Sure. I was recently hired at Powers Economic Prosperity to be the new project assistant to Tally Harmon. And I also sit as liaison to that board. So I will have to switch that with one of you fine fellow council members.
Okay. All right. And then, so that's pretty much what we're looking at. Those are the main two, unless there are other positions that you would like to trade or consider trading right now, that we can have that discussion about right now. Is there any other positions that would like to be rotated or traded?
Well, that leaves me with one. So I feel like I could probably take the burden off of one of the other council members that have three. There's a few of you, I think multiple of you have three, so I could take on one of those and then probably dip Adjustment and Appeals new net position. But I'll let you guys discuss that.
Okay. The only reason why I would question that is the planning and zoning, do they meet at the same time as the Adjustment and Appeals? No? Different times altogether? Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure. Would it be helpful to be aware of the Planning and Zoning Commission activities on the Adjustment and Appeals as a liaison?
Probably, I guess I have to refer to Lance if we need a conflict at all.
Not as a liaison.
Yeah, because this one would be a liaison. The other ones would actually be board members that are voting. So it's a little different. So it's up to, I'll leave it to Council Member Zavala and Gonzalez to see if you're really wanting the Adjustment Appeals Board position. And if not, we can offer that to Brent.
I have no problem offering that to Brent.
David,
Yeah, I don't have one.
you're good with Brent?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is this just a liaison or is
it's
it?
just a liaison,
So no voting.
no voting.
Do you have any idea what their monthly meeting date is yet?
I think Stephanie can let you know.
This is the last Wednesday, right? And our first meeting's tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I will not be able to make tomorrow, but I will the next. I'm officiating a wedding tomorrow, so.
Okay, are there any other items? Who would like to take over on PEP?
When does PEP meet?
Noon on,
It is third Monday of the month at noon.
third Monday at noon.
I could switch you CML Policy Committee, but I know that's probably in the middle of your workday.
I can try and give it a shot, as the tree board doesn't meet very often. It's very rare. So the only ones we're really currently active in would be the golf and the planning and zoning.
Okay. Everybody
Nobody
good with
else is
that?
interested.
Okay. So Joe Gonzalez? All right.
Stephanie, I'm assuming it's the fourth Wednesday of the month since, okay. Since there are 5 in July. Mhm.
All right. Does that sound like a good plan for the boards then? Everybody's good with those changes? All right, we will, we don't really need to make a vote on it, do we, or?
Usually do.
Okay, so we'll just need a vote to approve the changes as submitted. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the changes as proposed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Next item on the agenda, an ordinance to the city of Lamar, Colorado vacating Mullen Street between lots 3 and 4 in Block 2 in its first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, known as 700 East Beach Street, in lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 3 of the first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 701 East Beach Street, City of Lamar, Colorado. This is initiated and will be read by Stephanie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should I present a little background beforehand?
Yes, please.
Okay, so an application for vacating a portion of Mullen Street that runs perpendicular to East Beach Street has had a proper application been made to the planning and zoning to vacate. It has also held a public hearing on the application pursuant to timely and legal sufficient public notice, posting and publication. There are no utilities that run through this portion that we're looking to vacate at this time. Planning and zoning recommends that the City of Lamar vacate Mullen Street. There is a map attached so that there's a better clarification for where this is at. And with all things preliminary to the ordinance, Planning and zoning recommends that City Council approve the ordinance on the first reading or such other action as council may direct. Is there any questions for that section that it actually is? Because if you look at the map, I know I enclosed two maps because the color one I think helps you see it better, whereas the black and white one shows that multiple alleys and streets along Beach have long been vacated as they are not actually used since the railroad tracks are there.
Okay. Then we had an individual here tonight. Did you want to add anything or?
No, other than I appreciate the city stepping in and trying to diffuse a somewhat volatile situation. This is going to work better.
Okay. All right. So we would just need to read the ordinance on the first reading. Is that correct?
Correct.
And all notices have been published and everything has been completed.
Correct.
Okay. Any question or any additions from the city attorney?
Nope. I reviewed it, talked with Steph about it too. Looks good.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and start then. An ordinance vacating a portion of Mullen Street between lots 3 and 4 in Block 2 and first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 700 East Beach Street, and lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 3 and first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 701 East Beach Street, City of Lamar, County of Prowers, State of Colorado. Whereas proper application has been made to the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Lamar, Colorado for the vacating of a portion of Mullen Street that runs perpendicular to East Beach Street. See attached map. Proper application has been made to the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Lamar, Colorado to vacate a portion of Mullen Street between lots 3 and 4 in the Block 2 and first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 700 East Beach Street, and lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 3 and first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 701 East Beach Street. Whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on the application pursuant to proper, timely, and legally sufficient public notice, posting, and publication, and whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended to the City Council for vacating a portion Mullen Street that runs perpendicular to East Beach Street. See attached map. Proper application has been made to the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Lamar to vacate a portion of Mullen Street between lots 3 and 4 in Block 2 in first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 700 East Beach Street, and lots 1 and 2 and 3 in Block 3 in first subdivision J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 701 East Beach Street. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado, 1, that the following described Mullen Street between lots 3 and 4 in Block 2 and first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 700 East Beach Street, and lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 3 in first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 701 East Beach Street, be and is hereby vacated. Mullen Street between lots 3 and 4 in Block 2 in first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place addition, also known as 700 East Beach Street, and lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 3 and first subdivision of J.W. Bent's Cottage Place Edition, also known as 701 East Beach Street. 2, the city does hereby reserve and retain for itself and all other public utility service providers all necessary rights of ways or easements for the continued or future use of existing sewer, gas, water, or similar pipelines and apertures for ditches or canals and apertures, and for electric, telephone, telecommunication, and similar lines and apertures, including television and communications, all as provided in the Colorado Revised Statute 43-2-303, parentheses 3. 3, the city clerk and GIS office are hereby directed to make all necessary changes on the official map of the city of Lamar in respect to the above and foregoing ordinance.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve it on the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Please vote. Joe and Jerry.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. It's
Appreciate
been
it.
approved
Thank
on
you.
the first.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will have that back at the next meeting for the second reading and final approval, correct? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Do we have any miscellaneous items we need to go over? Any questions? Seeing none, we have an executive session for the purposes of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators under Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-402, subsection 4, subsection E, regarding the city administrator's search. Do we have a motion to move into that?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move into the executive session. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
There will be no decisions coming out of the executive session. Immediately following the executive session, we will adjourn our regular meeting. Our next meeting is Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m., and we hope to see you then. Thank you all for joining us today.